Welcome back. We are here for the Between Secrets in Lavender, episode 2. So, we were introduced to our hunters last time, and I just have to admit that because of my nervousness in getting everything underway, as well as, running my own mastermind and all this kind of fun stuff, it's like I did have some kid gloves on, and maybe I kind of let the hunters get away with a couple of things. So, yeah, starting this session and moving forward, kid gloves come off. So, to just do some housekeeping, when the players roll with moves and they get the mixed result, which is like 7 to 9, they would usually succeed, but there's a complication, there's a condition, that sort of thing. And I was not good about doing that last time, so I'm just going to refer to that right now. Jai was in the garden gazebo with Nora, and you saw a strange vision that garnered you a clue, but you also heard like a strange little laugh. You knew it wasn't coming from anywhere nearby, and it was like something in the vision was laughing at you being perceived. What do you think about that, Jai?
Think Chai is very curious. That is strange and otherworldly, and so is Chai. So I think she wants to, yeah, I think if you want to make that into a condition, I think something like curiosity killed the cat would be a great one. Or just curious or something like that.
Yeah, I think curiosity peaked would probably be appropriate. So yeah, go ahead and put this into your conditions. So curiosity peaked, and then for Mordecai, it was on an info move that you got a 9, and you got the whole bit about the ivy boughs on the ceiling, um, and how kind of impossible it was for uh, all of those things to be found or done, excuse me, in less than an hour by a very short little girl,
Even with a letter.
even with a ladder. What do you think about that?
What do I think about that? That is a good question. Hmm.
Because if not, it's like if you don't necessarily have an opinion, I do have a
I
complication that I will
oh,
probably put upon
okay.
you later.
Yeah, I mean my thought would be that had to there may be something in these plants is not quite normal, not quite ordinary, which is
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
But give me your complication. I don't think this is enough for
Okay.
a condition.
All right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I think it's like a, it's so close to a success, and you did get a clue out of it. So I'm probably going to give you a slight complication, like a little bit later on, as you
Okay.
search through, or I should say, uh, go through the house. And
Yes, please
since,
complicate my life. I like.
oh, don't worry, I will. And as Felix's player unfortunately is unable to join us today, and Felix did roll with a miss, I'm going to really complicate Felix's life by saying that, um, yeah, under Mother Mallory's orders, he was kind of ejected from the house. Not obviously. I mean, she made it known to certain folks that maybe Felix needed to go out and get some air. So we're going to say that Felix is probably out somewhere on the grounds for a bit, because, yeah, Mother Mallory doesn't want to look at him for a while. All right, so that's how we're going to take care of that. Um, yeah, so we're going to commence with a day phase. And again, like I said, the between is run in phases. And this is the hunter's opportunity to investigate and have scenes with each other and find out more about what the hell is going on. So, just as a review, you were tasked with finding out about this enigma, this little murder at Little Blackbird's Inn on Primrose Hill. All right, so a lord was found with his heart replaced by branches and his body hollowed out. Um, so yeah, let's commence. We're gonna start with Ellie because you didn't get a chance to do any moves slash rolls last time. So I think Mother Mallory will show you to the new room where Cobb Stilton, an escort, was placed because unfortunately Lord Philip Brookmead was found dispatched in his room. So, um, yeah. Cobb Stilton, you see him. He's a tall lad, strong and simple in his tastes. Um, just kind of like, bowed, head bowed on his bed. I think you just see like the curve of his back as he's just kind of looking off into space. And yeah, I mean, Mother Mallory just kind of says, um, I trust you will not upset him any further than he already is upset.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he's been through a lot.
I appreciate that. And again, I will be around if you need me.
Thank you. Is there a pitcher and glass on the dressing table?
Um, yeah, I mean, basically it's like, just basic living quarters um for these folks, but there is a paint the scene, and this is like in general for all of them.
Okay.
Little Blackbird's living quarters, okay? The living quarters are in the back and upstairs, dormitory style for the escorts and other workers of the inn, okay? So, I mean, like, it's not necessarily like single rooms for them. So it's like, several beds maybe in this particular room. Um, paint the scene. Despite the cramped conditions, how have the inn's employees made the best of their found family circumstances?
I think they may have partitioned off their own kind of quarters by very colorful and fabrics that are sometimes they're of extraordinary quality, actually, something that might have been given to them by a patron or something. Like you have this satin black thing that with gold lacing on it and in someone's quarters, and somebody else has a silken kind of scarf thing with multicolored. So yeah.
And I think sort of in the opposite direction. I think some people have like, made some privacy where they could have, but I think some people have just simply fully embraced that they're like in this together, and we see like beds pushed together to basically make like a queen size bed, and it's like stuffed with fabric so they don't like dip in, and we see just a bunch of like decorations and maybe indeed like some water or stuff like really there, so it feels very much like almost like a like a twin bed situation where they can just be very close and talk all night if they want to.
And yeah, since I mentioned the water in the pitchers, I think there are a lot of signs that uh they try to make this as self their living space as self-sufficient as possible. Obviously, they don't eat their meals up here, but they make sure there's water, there's probably some snacks, some small baked goods or that sort of thing. Uh and obviously they have wash basin and such so they can freshen up. But but yeah, it's clear that this is a retreat from the rest of the house and the rest of life because they have kind of arranged matters so that if somebody needs to hole up here for a bit, they're going to be okay.
And again, you can see slope of his back. I mean, like he's dressed in a fine shirt. I mean, like not like not bespoke per se, but I mean like it's looks like a fine material. He's got suspenders on, with well cut trousers, um, and then like on the wall near the bed is a jacket. Like a jacket that looks like it matches the trousers a bit, and you can see that there's a burgundy silk square that looks like it's poking out of the one pocket.
So yeah, I'm gonna go get a glass of water, and I'm making sure to walk a little more heavily than I might otherwise, because I don't want him to feel sneaked up on. Ah, and circling around so I can approach from in front of him rather than creeping up behind. Um,
He doesn't really acknowledge your presence. I mean, he just kind of just maybe shifts a little bit. So instead of like having his forearms on his thighs, like maybe kind of like leans back on the bed a little bit, and then just kind of like puts his hands behind him, and then kind of just like maybe looks, gives you a sidelong glance, but doesn't
extending the
say anything.
water.
He'll look at it, and then look up at you and say, "Thank you." And then like slowly take it, and then like sip, but you can tell there's a little tremor in his large hand.
I'm just gonna sit with him for a moment, not push for conversation right away, just let him get used to my being there for a moment. And then,
You noticed he had like incredible blue eyes.
rough day.
It was not a good start. And he takes more water.
I'm one of the people looking into this on behalf of Mother Mallory. I know this is not an easy thing to talk about, but would you be willing for me to ask you a few questions? Because I do need to know some things.
I'll try.
Okay. So, could you just walk me through it? What's the last time you saw him before this happened?
He takes a deep breath, and he'll put the glass in between both hands, and then just start to talk and say, everything was as usual. He was in his regular room, and sometimes he asks for one of us, of course, and this time he asked for me. And I brought I brought some things to read to him, but he wanted comfort last evening, and I provided it, and then when it was done, he asked me to leave, but then to come back in the morning.
Okay. So about what time did you leave him?
I I remember it was, believe it was past midnight. I think
Okay. And what time did you go back?
he likes an early rise. I was trying to bring him tea. so mundane. Bringing him
Yeah.
breakfast. And I saw him, and I didn't even know what I was looking at.
Sure. It's
And then he immediately takes up the entire like glass, like whatever he has left of the water, he just gulps it down.
right. So what can you tell me about him? What was he like? Did he seem worried or upset on this visit, or anything on his mind?
Information move, please.
Indeed.
With I don't know. Reason? Presence? Not sure at the moment.
I was thinking presence since I'm just trying to
Okay.
create rapport and
Reason. No, like
Oh,
presence. Presence is
okay.
reasonable. Sorry. I didn't mean to confuse you.
Okay. Well, I got an 8.
And your question specifically was what he was talking about or what he was worried about?
Yeah.
He didn't seem amiss, except later on in the evening, as I finished reading to him after comfort. He took out his journal and he sometimes writes in it, I remember. But this time he actually started tearing some pages out. And I asked him about it. And he just looked at me and said, it was nothing I needed to worry about. It was nothing I needed to concern myself with. And he tore the pages out and stuffed the pages in his pocket. That's all I know.
Okay. Well, I don't want to intrude anymore. So, if you think of anything else, my associates and I are going to be around, uh, trying to figure this out, and you can let any one of us know.
Understood.
And with that, I will withdraw and head back downstairs.
I'm going to say that as you're leaving, hold on. I guess
yes, I'm
somebody's
due
in there.
something.
Is somebody in the one thing? Because I was trying to paste it in there, and it's like I can't do it. I'm not sure if somebody was in that.
Oh,
that space.
sorry, I was. Let me.
Go ahead and
out
put
of
it in
that.
there if you want to put it in. So, the clue is basically Lord Brookmead's journal with certain entries torn out. That's the clue.
Okay.
Okay, so that's fine. But I think as you're typing that in, and as you're leaving, I think there is a mirror in the room. I mean, like I would imagine, like of course, being in the quarters as they are, like they would all be kind of like what's the word, you know, jockeying for space to check their outfits and stuff like that.
Oh,
like
sure.
you know, as they're going to their
Gotta fix your hair, all that.
to their respective clients and such. But I think as you're passing the glass, I think you get the sense of something out of the corner of your eye, and you see the hint of something moving about your reflection. And when you go to look, you see what look like branches growing out of where you step. And when you look again, the vision is gone.
Wow, that's not unsettling.
What do you, I mean, is that what you're thinking when you see that?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit wary, I think would be the best way of putting it. I'm not scared, but my attention to my surroundings is definitely heightened, which
Uh,
may make me kind of jumpy.
I think your condition is hackles up.
Makes sense.
Yep. All right. Let's go over to Mordecai. Mordecai, you are shown. Mother Mallory has one of the other. She calls one of the escorts to show you where they've stashed the body,
Hmm.
and it is you're being escorted by uh, Lucy Emmett. She's tall. She's a tall, dark, beautiful woman, and she doesn't speak to you. She just kind of like nods at Mother Mallory, and she just kind of like gives you a small smile and like will show you where the room is. Um, so unless you talk to her, like she won't talk to you. She'll just like kind of like show you where the thing is. But I mean, she's introduced as Lucy. Um,
Oh, remind me, there was something we were told about Lucy, wasn't there?
I don't think so. I mean, like
Okay.
I gave you a bunch of names, but
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. Let me just check here. Okay. So yeah, I don't think that Mordecai will think of anything to say to her. I He's probably not the type to chit chat.
okay. And yeah, I think when you get into the room where the body's being held, it's a strange room. Um, it's kind of like a where it's like a set back room where it's kind of like more deep than anything else, right? It's like it's got like, room for storage, like where they've just placed like random boxes and random things in it. Um, and in the back, they've just kind of laid out Lord Brookmead's body underneath a sheet. She does not go in with you. Lucy does not go in with you. She just kind of
Uh,
indicates where the body is.
he has been moved from the place where he died, I assume.
Oh, they did not. Well, I mean, yeah, they wanted to kind of make it, less. They were hoping to just kind of clean up after it and then, like, kind of be able to use the room again. So, yeah, they moved the body.
Very good. Thank you for the information. Please do not disturb me while I work.
Of course not.
Thank you. And I will close the door. And I walk over to the body. And I mean, I will look at it first before doing any magic stuff.
Hmm.
But I will do some magic stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, when you twitch aside the sheet, I mean, it's basically like, yeah, it is as they say. Um, uh, Someone looks as if they had the consideration of closing his eyes. Uh, so you see that his eyes are closed, but the mouth is wide open, and it looks as if there are little tiny branches starting to grow out of his mouth. And the rest of him, of course, has gone through rigor mortis or whatever. And then you can see the gaping hole where the heart is supposed to be. And then, of course, the branches coming out of it.
Wow, that is unusual.
And
Let's say.
of course, looks like he's exsanguinated because, like, it's man's been hollowed out. Oh boy. So yeah.
But have his veins also been replaced by plant matter? I will just do a little check.
I mean, you're welcome to take a closer look if you'd like.
I would like to take a closer look, but I also would like to do a ritual eventually. So
I mean, you can info move this now if you want, and then, like, do a ritual to kind of give a different effect. How about that?
I would like the info move because the ritual I'm thinking of is I want to talk to him.
Of course, a different effect. Absolutely. Sure. Go
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think I will just briefly glance at it, decide that this is that I might return to this, but first of all, I want to talk to this person while he is as undisturbed by my attentions as possible. So yeah, I will summon my beings into my body. Where
Okay,
they
so
will.
you're doing the ritual then. You're
Oh,
doing
I'm totally doing a ritual.
So rite of salt and smoke. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So,
and I think this is kind of talk to someone I don't share a language with, right?
absolutely. He did.
Yeah. We do not share a language.
Nope.
Okay. So I guess I first roll, right?
Yes.
That is with sensitivity, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That is what? Okay, there we go. Wow, that is not a good roll. That's a 5.
Oh, I love it when you guys give me some stuff to work with.
Yeah, I might use a mask, but tell me what would happen if I don't.
Oh, this is great. Sorry. First, tell me what this looks like. Tell me what this looks like when in the presence of the body.
Mhm.
Your presence is your entities, like, doing what they're doing inside your body to start this ritual.
I think what that looks like is that I call the entities into my body, and you can see this slight weird shimmer over my hands where they're mostly concentrated. You might see some bruises start to form, and then I lay the hand on that body and the entities start moving around in that body. And you can see that weird shimmery, silvery, that's not light because it doesn't illuminate anything, but this weird effect moving through that body. And I think what my plan is to have the entities go to his larynx and throat so that I could talk to him.
I think as you feel the entities move through you and try to move into the body through your hands, the tendrils in the heart and also in the mouth, they start to grow and twist and turn. And they're not only trying to twist around your hands laying on the body, but they're also trying to invade your body as well. And then you start to feel the pain as like an almost parasitic. No, it is a parasitic. A parasitic growth starts to form as each of your fingers is invaded by a root or a branch that's digging right into them, and you start feeling distinctly stiffened as branches start to form inside you, and you hear "Welcome to the forest, Mordecai." Welcome to the dark.
Okay. I think I still would like to use a mask here, please.
Okay.
I mean, they can still invade me for a bit, you know? Should I narrate I'm using a mask of the past. Should I narrate the flashback now, or should I do that later?
It is up to you. If you have it ready now, you're welcome to do it now.
Oh,
Just read off the prompt first. Let me explain the masks. So, in the between, for those that have not played it before or are not familiar with it, when players roll misses, they or even like mixed results, there is always the opportunity to upgrade your roll. And that is by virtue of using masks. This is our way of getting to know the hunter's mysterious pasts, narrations of finding out about their history. And this mask mechanically will help them move up a tier in their roll, save them from a miss into a mixed result, make a mixed result into a full success, and if they really do truly want it, a full success into something that would garner them a mastermind clue for a 12 plus result. But for activating a mask, they would just pick the particular narration and give us the story.
Okay, so the Mask of the Past for me reads, narrate a flashback to the time when you were in your mother's womb that shows even then dark entities were interested in you. And I think what we will see is a young woman, not as pale as Mordecai at all, but still looks like this, what you call an English rose, like with this very fine porcelain skin, but dark hair and bluish eyes. And she looks scared. She also looks very pregnant. And there is another man who sits opposite of her. You can't see him properly, but he has a very full beard, and he looks like a gentleman. He's very, very well dressed. He also looks quite athletic. And I think she says something like, "They're always around me, sir. I don't know what they are." And the man says, "Do not worry, my dear. These are angels. They are looking out for your little one." And she looks not quite convinced, but also like she doesn't want to argue with this man because he has kind of power. He looks far richer than she is. And she says, will you take care of my little one then, sir?" And he says, "Do not worry, my dear. We will take very good care of your little one." And I think we'll cut there.
Damn. Okay. All right. So you are raised to 7 to 9. That does not happen with the creepy ass, growl.
Maybe it does, because my magic will draw unwanted attention, I think.
Oh.
That's the catch.
Is that
immediate
true.
unwanted attention. That's the complication that I'm choosing.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, it doesn't take you over then, because that
Yeah.
was going to be the
Yes.
next step in the
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
invasion.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take you over, but you do have the eye of something now on you. In fact, that's what we're going to call it. Your condition is called Eye of the Forest.
Love it.
Yep. But anyway, yeah. So go ahead and tell me what your effect is.
I will communicate with someone that I do not share language with, which is currently Lord, what's his name?
Brookmead.
Brookmead. That's Lord Brookmead.
Okay. So maybe you feel the branches piercing your fingertips, but not as severely. You do hear that growl, but then it recedes.
I love that growl.
Yeah, it recedes into the background. But you realize that, like, you can feel the mouth creaking open and the branches breaking off a little bit as Lord Brookmead tries to speak to you. What is your question? Whatever.
Lord Brookmead, you have been killed in quite an unusual fashion. Do you have an explanation for why this happened? Have you somehow been cursed? Or done something that would make someone curse you?
I think the body turns its neck, like it turns its head towards you, but like you can hear the crackling as the branches inside are like trying to break off and like, trying to get past the stiffening of the corpse. And like the mouth is moving and trying to say something, but then it looks like the branches aren't letting him say exactly what he's trying to say. Instead, oh, do I give you this clue the way I want to give you this clue, or do I give it differently? Interesting.
Do whatever you want.
I
You
know.
want to do it? Come on, Mass.
Shit.
You know you do.
Okay. His mouth cracks open, like, it's already wide, but I mean, like, kind of like, starts to move. And the branches are like encircling his neck already. And he's trying to say something different from what he wants to say. And instead, what you hear is Cicero. And then he starts trying to say stuff from the Roman senator, I think it is.
Yeah.
Like he's quoting stuff from that political
Mhm.
oratory.
Mhm. And that is not what he wanted to say, right?
That is not what he wanted to say, but it is the clue.
Okay, yes, fine. Yes, always thinking of the Roman Republic, I think. I see.
I will let me put this clue in here, and I'm like, as it stands in the thing itself, and then you can make of it what you will. But
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what you get. And,
Well, in that case, I will
Yep.
carefully disentangle myself from the corpse, like drawing these little branches out of my fingers or no, I think I'm doing it myself because, well, that was informative.
It's like having splinters underneath your fingernails, basically.
Yes, it is quite painful, I imagine.
Your entities are happy with this, though. I mean, like, you're feeling
Yes,
something.
I know they are. I know they are. They love this. Well, some good. At least somebody's loving this.
Absolutely, for sure.
I will be careful not to leave my blood on anywhere on the branches. If there is, I will break them off instead of giving it to them.
Okay.
And take them with me to burn at a later date. Oh yes, I will take the branches off. Some of the I will see if I can find something that could serve me as a cutting. Like I can graft this, I can put it in a vase and see if I can grow it later on. I will take one of these with me.
I mean, like, if you wanna add like branch cuttings to your personal quarters for right now, go for it.
Sure, thank you.
I'm okay with that. That is perfectly fine. And then we'll, like upon this, like, we'll cut over to Jai over at the garden gazebo, with Nora still. And yeah, you heard what you heard, and you're still with Nora. I really should get back to work. As she's rubbing her face and putting more dirt on it, even though it's tear streaked.
I will take her face in my hands and sort of, with my thumbs do that sweet little thing where I'm wiping away her tears in the dirt and say, "My dear, you are entirely too gloomy to go back to work. Let's make it a little fun, shall we? Why don't you try to run and I'll try to catch you? It's a game."
maybe that's what I need. A little distraction.
I'll give you a head start, and I'll turn around and I'll start to
No
count to
cheating.
10.
No cheating, Jai.
Well, not any that you would catch. And I start to count. But my actual intent here is I heard that giggle, and I know that she has like this metaphysical, magical residue. I want to use her as bait to see if I can draw this thing out and learn from it while we sort of play this little game of catch.
Oh boy. Okay. Interesting. So, let's see. We can call this. What are the stakes, though? So, I mean, like, if I was going to call this, like, maybe say a day move or something like that, because it's like you're trying to you're trying to lay
Sure.
a trap for this thing, unless you have a move, which I hadn't seen if you did or not.
No.
But I mean, like, if this is like a day move to do a trap, I mean, like, what do you think will happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
Well, I think Chiayi, like, this is a game to her because she doesn't believe, like, she's there, so she doesn't believe that Nora is, like, at any point in any real danger.
Mhm.
So obviously, what could go wrong is she is actually, and I am not fast enough.
Yeah, I think you teasing this and like, trying to make her bait, it's like, it is not only real, but Nora will be the next victim. Nora will be the next victim for this, and it won't actually be because of the reason Brookmead was killed. It'll just be because you decided to put her in harm's way. Yeah. All right. So, day move with
The undeniable is gone, but we still need to keep his presence around.
Seriously, right? So, yeah, day move
With-
with sensitivity, I would imagine,
With
because
sensitivity.
yeah,
Thank
because
you.
you're playing around with like otherworldly stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to sort of draw it out and learn from it.
Sure.
Well, that is a 10 on the dice plus 2. Unless you wanted to give me, I guess, disadvantage, but we didn't say so. So that's a 12 total.
Hold on a second. Let me see. I always forget this too because it's like I love like hearing about what you guys like to play with. So let me just look at the condition for half a mo.
Yeah, curiosity peaked.
Actually feels like it's feeding into it a little bit. No, I'm not gonna worry about it right
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
next
enough
time
now.
I'll tell you what conditions I have before I roll too. And then we can decide if it's
Yeah,
necessary or not. Yeah.
right. But basically, you rolled 12.
I rolled a 12, yes, correct.
Brilliant. This is beautiful. Okay. So, I think for day move, I think, yeah, she starts to, well, tell me like, I mean, you're just basically like telling her to do like a hide and seek for this?
Yeah, it's basically like, like a hide and seek or a game of tag, kind of like a combination.
Is this something that you've played at before, like since she's your favorite escort?
Oh, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've probably done like very playful, like hide and seek or like Chiai taking something from her, like playfully stealing something and like teasingly showing it. So she's like trying to get it back. Both in like that, I'm being impressive with like how stealthy and fast I am, but I'm also kind of teasing you, but I will always in the end like give it back to you or something, right?
Right.
And I think, yeah, like these like playful hunting games is very much a thing that Chai is very much into. So they've
yeah.
played that before.
Okay, cool. Okay, I figured it out. All right. So I think you've started the countdown, and then you can hear her laughing. Like, she's starting to get out of her doldrums and such, and she's getting into the game because this is something that you've lined up before. You guys have played this kind of thing before, and you can hear her like, admonishing you, don't cheat, Jai. And, she's getting lost in the hedge maze, or she thinks she's getting lost in the hedge maze. And I think when you open your eyes, there's a different take to it now. The hedge maze doesn't look like the hedge maze. The lighting is different. The plants are different. I mean, it's the hedge maze, but it's almost as if you're seeing more flowers, more riotous color. You're seeing just this, like, different landscape atop what is there in the real world. And you can distantly hear her as if she's far away.
Yeah, I think it's sort of this world upon the world. I think Jai feels very comfortable and feels very at home. And I think we see her smile as she's sort of seeing these colors and these flowers upon like imposed upon the real world. And with like a playful jump, she'll grab the gazebo, flip herself like on the roof of it. And I think I will like follow the voice and the giggling, but as I'm doing so, I'm looking around in the world and I'm trying to see. I'm basically trying to like either draw this thing to me that was giggling,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm trying to see like what is this world? Is it my world? Is it a different thing? Like what is this that has found itself here?
Yep. And I can tell you that as you're looking through this very strange world, you're seeing these flowers. They're all sorts of different flowers. Maybe you see like the rhododendrons and the daffodils that Miss Pemberton Potts had given you earlier, and then also to like, some begonias or some other like flowers and stuff that you don't even recognize. But I think you realize that some of the flowers look like crumpled up pieces of paper meant to look like flowers. And if you decide to take a closer look at these crumpled up pieces of paper, and maybe you don't understand what you're looking at first, but you realize that they are pages from a journal. And these pages say something about an expedition. An expedition taken a long, long time ago with someone.
Oh, I didn't roll a 12 on an information move. How dare you?
Doesn't matter.
How dare you give me a mastermind clue?
Doesn't matter. It's my game I'm running.
So rude. I protest.
Okay, if you don't want it, I don't have to give it to you.
No, 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 I'm joking. I'm joking. Please give it to me.
Doesn't mean anything to you now, but it is journal entries of an expedition with an explorer called Sir Thomas Shearer Cole. And these are crumpled up journal pages that are torn and made to look like flowers. Do you take them?
Yeah, I think I'll take them, and I start sort of like as I'm jumping from like the hedge mages and like from shadow to shadow, sort of. I think what Chai is doing is I'm basically like I'm never actually gonna catch Nora, but I'm going to guide her in the right direction. Where
Mhm.
if she needs to go left, I'll make sure that she hears me come from the right, so that instinctively she will turn left to find her way back. Sort of in like that playful like hunter way where I'm trying to get her to a specific place, except luckily for her, that's a good place where she actually wants to be. But I think as I'm doing that, I'm very playfully like starting to read these entries, like very much like in the vibe of I found your diary, even though like it's not hers, but like very much that tone of voice, like I find your diary from when you were 12 and it's very embarrassing and I'm gonna read it. Even though I imagine that the details are actually quite creepy.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, like, it's like it's very dry as of course an
Hmm.
explorer's would be, but I mean, yeah, it's like it's like some details about how rough the trip was and the strangeness that they found. But
Hmm.
yeah, and some of it is like kind of scratched out, scribbled out, torn, like you can't read it all the way. It's almost as if it would be somewhat like shredded and redacted. Weird. But
Weird indeed.
but
Uh,
as you get closer to Nora, like the world starts coming back onto itself, like coming back into the real world. And I think as you get closer to Nora's voice, I think you realize that the flowers start to dissipate, and you're seeing the plain hedge maze again, but you still have the pages in your hand.
mhm. I think right before, like in that moment of in-betweenness of being between this world and that other world, I would love to see if anything is focusing on Nora or if indeed she is being marked in some kind of way with an information move, because that's what I wanted to set up the day move for.
Sure.
Would that also be with sensitivity?
Um, yeah, because it's the closest thing I would imagine. I mean, like, you're not doing it any other way necessarily.
Mhm.
But
Do you think my condition of curiosity piqued would give me disadvantage here?
yes, because you just came out of like the weird world. That was, yeah.
Okay. Well, that is still an 8, even with disadvantage.
Hmm. When do you think you catch her in that moment? Like when you
So,
fully come out of the other place.
mhm. Yeah, I think it's sort of that like a very playful, like she's standing and she's looking somewhere and I do like a back hug kind of thing
Yes.
where I kind of grab her.
Hmm.
Like just for a moment, because I'm
Right.
not currently paying her, so Chai is like, it's not appropriate for me to be like too close to you, but
Sure.
like sort of like a friendly, like I grab you, I hug you, and then I like let go if she shrieks or like has a reaction to that.
She actually looks distracted. I mean, like she's surprised, pleasantly surprised that you found her. But I mean, she does look distracted, and the reason that she's distracted is because she's found something. Look what look what I found. And what she's
Trouble?
found. No,
Oh,
I found this here on the path. I don't know who it belongs to, but this is very I don't know if they would use this word, but she's going to say spicy. Okay, here we go. She found a letter of steamy ardor with no recipient or sender. It's got a lot of details. Whew. And she
I
starts to
think
like wave it. I don't
Chai,
think I should be reading this.
oh, don't worry, I will read it. And I will snatch it from the ground and I will do
Tree!
like a dramatic recital of the very
That's not
steamy
your letter to
letter.
read.
Well, they left it here for anyone to find.
Well, it's not mine. Just so you know.
What a shame.
Is it?
Well, I wouldn't mind receiving such a letter.
And she just kind of smiles back at you.
I give her like a wink and then I continue reading this very, very steamy letter. And I'm sort of doing my best like poet or herald impression where
Oh
I'm being like
gosh.
very dramatic about it.
Right. Amazing. All right. So, yeah, you have those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 clues on the board, but of course, like you have the 4 complexity for the resolution of the threat, but then also if you want to answer the other question to get the custom move, like that's also a complexity 4, so you have to have enough clues for that. Now, I believe the rule's still the same, that you only have to have like half of the complexity to be able to answer the question, but then you'd be rolling on a negative when you do that sort of thing. So it's your choice, yeah, you can continue to investigate, but I think we're going to close out of day phase at this point. And we're also due for a break. So when we come back from break, we're going to go ahead and go into dusk phase, all right, and then enact some of those steps in that. And we're back for dusk phase. We are trying to adhere to some of the newer rules for the Between, as it will be coming out hopefully soon. With all the fun things going on in the world, who knows at the moment. But anyway, one of the things that they've changed is rooms at Hargrave House is its own choice for a night phase. But we don't have all of the rooms available to us. So I'm going to offer this up as a choice. First off, if the players decide to do a Hargrave House night phase, those particular rooms that are available as that choice, well, this would happen anyway. That's all they would be able to do for the night phase. That room's prompts would be enacted, and they would not be the hunters. They would be whatever character that is in that particular room. And then any items or moves that are unlocked through that particular phase, they would get, obviously, at the end of the night. However, any timers on threats, like, ending in 3 night phases or whatever, those timers still tick on. So you would have essentially lost a night to do whatever you needed to do. So just keep that in mind, all right? If you choose not to do a Hargrave House night phase, then we would commence with a regular, what I call a regular, London night phase, which is comprised of hunter scenes interspersed with what is called the unseen. And I'll explain more about that if that's what you choose to do. Okay? So, right now, we are entering into dusk. Dusk is resolving any playbook moves or custom moves that are resolved during dusk phase. One of which is always most important to the American, which is the quickening. Ellie, please tell us about the quickening again.
Inevitably, I forgot to unmute. Once per session, it's a guarantee. I've got this little problem. I've got this little curse. And every evening I have to find out how much in control I am. And that sometimes I'm in control. Sometimes I'm just hanging on and it's kind of rough on me. Sometimes it's helping me and I'm stronger, I'm faster, my senses may be sharper. And there's also the danger that I get out of control. So we're going to see how this goes.
Roll with composure or sensitivity, please.
I got a 9.
Okay. On a 7 to 9, you manage to keep the quickening in check, but just barely. Take the following condition: drained.
Okay.
So, this is fun. Okay, so that is one of the playbook moves that gets activated through dusk. And then, like I said, you can pick a Hargrave House night phase, or you can pick a regular London night phase.
I think for me, narratively, it doesn't really make sense to do a Hargrave House one since we're like in the Blackbird Inn and like I don't know, I think narratively it would be a little weird for us to be like at night, let's go home. We're like specifically here to investigate this thing.
Yeah.
Um, so I would go for on the night phase, and also because like out of character, I want to do like the new one when we're all together for the
Sure.
first time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And not leave Mike out of that.
Okay, great.
But that said, I'm if the other two have a different opinion, I'm also fine with that.
I think London makes sense to me too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I want to play this character before I switch off to a night phase where I can play this character because he's shiny, he's new, and I want to get to know him better.
Absolutely. Oh, that's great. Okay, cool. And, just to keep it a little bit interesting, and because it's kind of like what's in the character keeper anyway, I do have a list of the old Hargrave House prompts. So I will kind of call upon this just as a kind of like, all right, this is kind of what's in the house. Yeah. For funsies. The reception hall. Do you feel unsettled or at home when you enter Hargrave House? What do you perceive in the reception hall that reinforces that feeling? That's a paint the scene for everyone. Do you, your character, do you feel unsettled or at home when you enter Hargrave House? What do you perceive in the reception hall that reinforces that feeling?
I feel at home, almost in spite of myself. There are portraits of past residents of the house, and I grew up in a place that had portraits all around the more formal reception areas of the house. And that I'm not proud of the fact that or not exactly comfortable with the fact that I'm comfortable with it because I left that behind a long time ago. But there it is. It's familiar.
I think for Chai, I think she feels very unsettled is maybe not the words. I would almost go as far as to say that she feels spiteful towards Hargrave House because when you enter, there is like the heavy smell of incense meant to keep spirits out. And on one, like, there's like this big tapestry, this medieval tapestry that's sort of like, it's one of the depictions of Gawain and the Green Knight, but it's Sir Bertilac hunting, except he's not hunting a deer or a boar, but he's hunting a fox. And it just reminds her that in this world, there are things that hunt her.
I apologize, my internet is a little wonky right now, but I hope you can hear me. Okay, so I think Mordecai, what does he feel at the reception hall? I think there's this a little sense of unease when he walks in because he has complicated feelings about how much he feels at home here. How much this is, as you can see this hunting scene, which is something he kind of likes. But there's also weapons and the incense, the entities do not like the incense, so it's complicated. Let's say it like that. He does not feel entirely at home, but he does not feel entirely like a stranger too. Yeah, maybe Jiangxi, maybe Mordecai found it and said, yeah, we should hang this. This is fun.
Oh,
That
dang.
is, yeah, I mean, that makes it seem like, yeah, kind of something fun to look at. I don't know if he's aware how much of a fox Jai is actually is.
This is
If
gonna
I
be.
read the playbook, I think at least initially it's supposed to be a secret from the other. That said, if any of you think it's more interesting that
Okay.
your character knows, I'm totally fine with that. But I think reading the playbook, it's at least initially supposed to be a secret.
Okay. That's yeah. See, that makes sense.
Which,
I mean, he probably would have hung up anyway, but you know.
which would
But
make the.
he's not aware of the degree to which it's a snub.
Yeah, which is gonna make the vulnerable scenes just
Yeah.
bazonkers. I can't wait. Can't wait. Apologize.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay, so that is Hargrave House's reception hall, at least as far as we know. Okay. Too early to answer a question. You don't have enough clues. All right. So, given that you're doing a London night phase, what would each
Can
of
I
you?
ask?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Because I mean, the complexity of the questions is 4, and we have 5 clues. So why wouldn't we be able to do that?
You could, but then you'd lose the opportunity to answer the other one, to answer the other question.
Oh, okay. So if we
I mean,
okay.
that's not true, is it? We could do the custom move one and then just get our clues for the next one, right?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, like it sounded to me like. I mean, well, okay.
No,
Let's put it this way: which question did you want to answer? Let's put it that way
obviously the
first.
second one. I
Okay.
mean,
Okay.
obviously the second one. I don't want to finish the mystery without getting to this move thingy, right?
I was gonna say, I'm like, wait, which one did you want to answer first? Okay, sure. If you wanted to answer a question, sure, you could like answer the one of the questions and then save the other one for another time. So yeah, sure. Would you like to try to answer the one question right now?
I would
You
call
have
the table though. I don't want to do it for myself. Just
that
what
is
do
up
you
to
think?
you.
Should we try that?
It's a working theory.
We
Do you have
could also, we are down a player, so that would mean
Oh, right, you're
that
right.
Mike wouldn't
Yes.
get to participate in that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. Oh, let's wait until he's here.
Yeah. So if you choose not to answer a question, then that's that task down. Okay. All right. So, what would each of you like to be doing during the upcoming night phase? Keeping in mind that you can tell me what you'd like to do. Whether you get to do it, well, we'll see.
I'm like, I know what the funny answer is, but what
I
do
mean,
I
you don't
want to
have to
do in the
stay at.
night
You
phase?
don't
I want
have
to
to.
do Nora. I mean,
You can do. Well,
listen.
again, you can do whatever you think you want to do. Whether you get to do it is a completely different prospect. We'll see. Well, you know, I love it.
I think Mordecai might want to get
You don't
might
have to
want to
stay at
get
Little
Ellie and
Blackbirds. I'm
take
just
a
saying.
look at. Yeah, I would like to look at the forest around the place because I have this eye of the forest condition. Make it miss. Figure out what the forest around this place is. I might want to ask Ellie before I go though.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely up for prowling around.
And then Jai,
Yeah.
you have more intimate plans. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think so, but I think the intent here is kind of to see like if they're doing the forest and like and I've already sort of like had a look at that, right? But I think basically we know that they were killed after like sort of a specific sequence of events. So I think Chai wants to basically recreate that, right? Because it seems like he had, you know, he had a moment with an escort, was then left alone, and in that time period was killed. So I think Jai
Ah,
is basically going to do the same thing and see if she can lure something out or learn something from that.
interesting. Okay. So recreate.
Yeah, and let's use I mean if Nora can be convinced to use that room, then yes. If not, Chai will go there after.
I think she'd probably be very hesitant. You're gonna have to do some convincing to get her to do so, to get her to go back into that room. Especially because, obviously they moved Cobb out of it. So, scary. All right, great. All right, I think we got our plan. Oh my. All right. And the only one that used a mask was Mordecai, and he had already narrated that, so we're good. All right. And then the unseen. And I think, all right, so the unseen is something that is unique to the night phase for the between. And it is our chance to see the seedy underbelly of London, as well as maybe sometimes some slices of life in London as well. But they are interspersed between hunter scenes to kind of give it a cinematic cut feel. And the the players not only have the opportunity of narrating these unseens with prompts that are given, but there's also a mechanical use for the unseens as well. Whenever the players can call back to anything that they narrate in an unseen to call back to something narrated in a hunter scene and vice versa, and it doesn't have to be your hunter scene and your unseen, it could be but from somebody else's, then they can get what is known as an echo in the night. And that is something that we go over in the dawn phase, and that is how they can get experience towards advancement. Okay, so again, what you're aiming for in the unseen is some kind of sensory detail or thematic detail to call back to something that is mentioned or narrated in your hunter's scenes, and vice versa. Okay, so you see blood in one scene, and then maybe it calls back to, like, red wine, or even blood in, it's like something in the unseen, or mushrooms that are seen in an unseen, and then, like, maybe you see like some kind of like fungus caps in a hunter's scene, that sort of thing, or themes of love or hate, so whatever you can call back to and convince me of, I'm an easygoing GM, go for it. Alrighty. So the unseen for this night phase is a night at the Grand Guignol, the baker's son. Every class of people in London is represented in the audience at the Theatre Grand Guignol. They have come to watch the newest production, The Baker's Son, a story filled with romance, heartbreak, and bucketfuls of blood. There's prompts here. Paint the scene. We'll go to everyone. Prompt 2 will go to Sabine. Prompt 3 will go to Kathleen. Prompt 4 will go to Jazzy. All right. And feel free and put your answers into the cells in there, so this way you can always refer back to it to make it easier for other people to call back to the unseens. Okay? And if you want to do that ahead of time, that's perfectly fine too. Alrighty. So, given that, let's just make sure I did everything. Okay, yeah. Okay. So, unseen, Grand Guignol. Let's start at the Grand Guignol. Paint the scene, everyone. As the limelights pop to life and the crimson curtain is raised, what do we see as our eyes scan the stage that tells us this is the story of a humble baker's son?
Well, the most obvious thing is that there are shelves and baskets full of loaves of bread, various shapes and sizes, and rolls. It's quite likely that for stage purposes, these are entirely stale, if not, in fact, shellacked, so they don't have to keep replacing them. But but the set dressing, so to speak, is full of Yummy looking baked goods.
I think there's also a pig, clearly a huge oven thingy, right? Um, yeah, it is lit slightly ominously for whatever reason, but yeah, there is almost like some sort of light inside where the oven would have a fire inside, and it looks kind of off because it's not a real oven fire because you can't put that on stage. It's kind of a lantern, but it looks like more crimson than orange gold.
And sort of making his entrance, the baker's son enters with like a heavy sack on his shoulder. And as he sort of makes his way to that set, a bunch of like very young actors, children, come to sort of like teasingly say hello and see and like walk around him, and he will give them like little cookies or like little biscuits, what looks like it, as he pats like one of them on the head. And then when they walk off stage, he goes to the bakery. The bag goes down and it does like a little poof of flour. Um, and that's it.
All right. So, Mordecai, Ellie, tell me exactly where you are as we find you and night has fallen.
I think Mordecai's gone, asked where he might find Miss. Sorry, what's your last name, Ellie? Not that familiar. To Miss
Fletcher.
Fletcher. Miss Fletcher. Yes, where he might find Miss Fletcher, and if he gets shown, he will then turn up at Miss Fletcher, and Miss Fletcher can see that his fingers are a little bloody and bruised, but yeah, I think he will pull on some gloves as he meets you, just to hide those wounds. They are dark gloves. Oh, Maki is here.
Yes. It's clear that Ellie has noticed the hands and the gloves, but is not commenting. She looks tired. She the usual lithe spring in her step is just not there tonight. But this is also something she's not commenting on.
Yeah, I think Mordecai will not comment on this either, rather than say, I have noticed that there is something very odd about the forest that has an interest here. I had some encounter with an entity that claimed to be the forest and endeavored to seem rather ominous. And I would like to investigate this forest entity more because it seems like it is connected, does it not? Would it not?
Oh
However,
yeah.
going into the forest on my own does not seem prudent, so I would ask you to accompany me in case I get attacked by something untoward.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got your back.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've been wanting to look at the forest myself.
Oh,
It's not behaving right, I think, or something isn't.
I'm not overly familiar with the way forests are supposed to behave. However, I know that they are not supposed to grow out of people's bodies
Yeah.
or take over their vocal cords when somebody tries to speak to a corpse. They are also rarely quoting Cicero.
Yeah, in my experience, that is not a thing that forests do. The only time you
I'm,
might see a tree grown out of a corpse is if the corpse has been there a long, long time.
I mean, there are ways to do that, but that would require outside influence, which is clearly what we are trying to find here.
Yeah.
I mean,
I,
beyond the garden and such. I mean, like, you can see that there's a bit of, you know, clump of trees and such. Not forest per se, but I mean, just again, stand of trees nearby.
Might be connected. We might find a connection there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, trees are the place to start, certainly.
Yes.
All right.
Put some good sturdy footwear on. Nice shoes ain't gonna cut it out there.
I do not have good sturdy other footwear than what I'm currently wearing with me, but I feel confident that I can make do. We are not in the wilderness of the Andes or anything like that.
Yeah, well, could get wilder than we think, but if you're good to go,
I am.
let's do it.
Well, I feel Mordecai does not say okay. He says very well.
And I think as you go into this particular place, let's just take a little look-see here about, oh yeah, I can pull on either one of these things for you two. So whomever wants to try and roll a night move, to inspire us for night, please do, but you're rolling with disadvantage. I'm going to say that right now.
I will try. I have the Eye of the Forest.
Yes.
I can't get disadvantage more than once, right?
Well, I mean, since you have the Eye of the Forest, I mean, it's definitely giving you disadvantage because it's like you're essentially marked. So, I mean, unless you've got something in your personal quarters you want to utilize right off the bat to
that's
cancel it out.
I will, because I just acquired this branch cutting from Lord Bookmeat's corpse, right? And that might actually help me sense what's going on.
Okay.
I would use that.
Okay. So you will not be rolling with disadvantage. You can cancel that out. Just mark the cuttings, and then you would just be rolling with sensitivity because this sounds like you're trying to. Well, before we do this, sorry. What will happen if you fail or lose your nerve? Because I think as you're making your way into the forest, especially if you're trying to be guided by the branch cuttings and such and so forth, I think you guys are going to find yourself accosted by the trees. The trees are going to start making it difficult for you to get further in. They're all going to start looking the same. They're going to start changing reality on you, and you might even just get separated. That might be something.
Cute. I think what I'm afraid might happen is that, the trees might try to grow out of us. Like, not like they will attack us with branches or some such, but they will kind of put spores out or nuts or something, anything to get into our bodies and then grow. That's what I'm afraid will happen.
Body horror.
Yeah,
I think, I mean, like, the way it's worse is that, like, yes, it will, and then it will also be pervasive where it's going to, continue on with you, and, like, you'll be carrying, like, this ever-growing thing,
cool.
with you.
I mean, maybe not cool. Okay, so I'm rolling 2. Can I roll plus reason because I'm trying to do an intellectual thing, but I can also roll with sensitivity.
You're essentially walking into I mean, like, you're not using anything. You're using your regular senses, right? You're not using your entities or anything like that.
Yeah. No, I'm using my regular senses for now.
All right, then we can call for reason.
Okay, cool. Let's go. Come on, guys, be nice. It's an 11.
Nice.
Okay.
Yep.
So 11 on a night move. All right.
We're in the night right now. Changing.
Yeah. Yep. So 11 on a night move. Tell me how you make this work. So, I mean, maybe you feel that to be reasonable here.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel like the forest is there's no clear path. Yeah, you feel the forest encroaching, but there's no clear path here. It's like, how are you trying to use your reason to make your way?
I think I use my reason in the way that I will remember that we are actually in a quite small patch of trees I'm not actually at all in a giant forest, even though it might feel that way.
Mhm.
I will also, if push comes to shove, I will, after asking if it is okay, I will grab Ellie's arm or something, or will ask Ellie to grab my arm. That might be more reasonable, so that we do not get separated. And then I will look for markings on those trees. Like what I'm precisely looking at is, or that might be the information we want later, is trees that are foreign to this forest, that do not belong in an English forest.
Okay. Alrighty.
And I will not be scared by the oaks creaking and making their limbs move oddly, because that's what oaks do.
Sabine, describe Act 1, in which the baker's son, a young man named Daniel, falls in love with a woman, Dahlia, who he cannot have.
I think, yeah, there's a little scene, and the stagehands will be putting up some kind of fake trees to indicate that this now is a road, a fancy road, right, lined with these trees. And David is carrying one of the bags that he has, filled presumably with bread. And then he sees this woman. She's dressed in a very vibrant green that clearly contrasts with the rather drab baker's setting. And she is also wearing a bright orange flower. This is all what she's wearing is indicating that she's rich. She has a hat, she has a veil, and she has this bright orange, and it's a dahlia, of course, this bright orange dahlia on her dress. And he's struck by this apparition of this gorgeous dress and this gorgeous woman, and he drops his sack, like he's so overcome, like he's like, and then when she passes, he goes like, he is rather tongue-tied at this.
Jazzy. That's Jazzy, sorry. Jai. Sorry. Jai. So how do you convince Nora that it is a good idea to try and get into the original room where Lord Brookmead died? Or are you just going to do this plan by yourself?
No, I mean, if I'm going to recreate what we know of the night, I kind of need someone. Um, I mean, first of all, I think Jackie will just, pay her a generous amount for her services. Um, because, that's the deal of their relationship. That's what it is, right? Um, and I think if she needs like any more convincing, I think Jai will simply tell her that, first of all, Jai, this is her job. This is what she does. There is no need to be scared for her, and there is no need to be scared for Nora because, well, Jai is here. And it is better to fix this now than to let it continue because then who knows who is next. If there must be someone next, is it not better for that person to be the most capable person in the room? And then she'll giggle and be like, which is me, of course.
If you think if you think this is going to be okay.
Of course. Do not worry, darling. I am always the scariest thing in any room.
Well, and yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you know, if it wasn't already described, I mean, like, maybe um, you find out from Nora, who finds out from Cobb, like, what they did, or Cobb tells Nora what happened, the night before or whatever, and like as in broad strokes as possible. And yeah, I mean, if that's what you guys end up doing, that's what you end up doing. But yeah, Comfort, exactly.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely Chai's plan. So I think we see them enter the room.
Mhm,
And I mean, we can obviously fade to black on that.
mhm.
But I think, yeah, we see Chai sort of like look around the room, and she is like, her demeanor throughout the whole thing is like this isn't any different from any of the other times that she's been here and asks for Nora's services. She is maybe like slightly more alert to like, you know, an external if she like feels anything shift in the room, but I don't suppose that at that moment she would. So there is just like very, very playful, very happy, very just like into it, really. And then I think if after that Nora leaves, then Tiai is just going to um yeah, basically see if anything happens here. Be on the prowl for things to happen.
I think you see the room. I mean, like they didn't do much more cleanup aside from moving his body and then just kind of clearing the bed for the most part, and then changing the bedding and all of
Mm,
the usual stuff. I mean, I think they actually left the vase of pansies of, well, they
perfect.
kind of, yeah, they kind of like left that alone because for some reason it's like they kind of alighted over it. They didn't even notice it for some weird
Mm-hmm.
reason. So it's still there in the center of
And
the floor.
I will take one of those pansies and I'll put it in my own hair,
Hmm,
like a hairpin.
right. Yeah, I think we can call upon Night Move for here.
Absolutely.
Sure. I think as you're waiting there, like, stuff happened or whatever, and you're kind of waiting there for something to come and call, I think you hear that little laugh again. Little fox, playing where you don't belong. Night Move. What do you think
Yeah,
will happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
I guess that this thing is just more powerful than me and that it marks me or like traps me, right?
It will try to. I think what it'll do is because you're in its field now, maybe it'll try to get you to do something for it that you don't want to do. Did you ask Nora to come back?
No, after she left, she can do whatever she wants.
Okay, all right. But that won't stop it from possibly, like, having you try to take over and attack the next person that comes in,
Of course.
of course. Yeah. So,
Yeah. With um sensitivity or presence, what do you think? Because I think Chai is just kind of trying to talk to it like like one-to-one level where it feels like we're both creatures that are more of the natural world than the human world. So let's just talk.
okay.
What do you want from these mortals?
All right. Presence then.
Okay. Yeah, I think she sort of tilts her head in that, like fox or dog way where they're like trying to catch the sound better and they tilt their head to listen to you. And she'll just smile and say, what is it that got you so curious about these mortals? Or a 8.
Sorry if I'm recalling this like it's a little bit too close in real life, but I think you feel like this sudden, like, throbbing. Like it's trying to prod and shake itself into you, but it's almost like it's trying to give you a little bit of a memory as well. Like, not of this place,
Mhm.
but someplace further out where it's giving you an impression of a place that wants to be left alone, but yet also sees other people coming into it. And, well, if they're going to come in, then might as well take them over. And that's kind of what it's trying to do. It's trying to do to you as well, but it can't, because
Mhm.
you're just kind of like kind of going toe to toe with it
Yeah, I'm just
psychically.
going, no, 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 none of that. You talk to me. You don't take over. They're in your home then. They built in the wrong place, as they often do.
They tried to explore. They encroached.
Yes, they do tend to do that, don't they? Always going where they do not belong. Then again, they think everything belongs to them.
Yes, they do. And no, it doesn't.
It doesn't. But still, I do think you're calling a bit too much attention to yourself, don't you?
Maybe. Maybe I do it for something else.
And what would that be?
Someone else.
And who would that be?
It kind of just gives you a vague impression of someone here, but it won't tell you who.
Is there anything I can do to like follow up on or clarify that vision or?
If you want to try to make a sorry, if you want to try to make a an information move, you can, but I will say it's you'll hear, like, just as you're trying to make further communication, I think you're going to hear like a sudden, like, sharp knocking. It's like, imagine you were like in this bubble, like, trying to talk to this thing, and it's like it's kind of like an echo chamber. But then, like, now you hear this distant knocking, and it's like in your ears, and it's like it's like giving you an ache in your head. But you hear somebody calling out to you, and that's your complication for the 8.
Mhm.
So somebody's like banging on the door.
Yeah, I think I'll say, just a moment. I mean, I don't think the door is locked, to be honest. But I think she's just like, I mean, but I think she will still like head tilted. I assume that I can't see anything. Like this conversation is like happening in my head.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Mhm.
no, absolutely. Like,
Okay.
it's totally in your head.
Yeah. Then I'll just sort of even as I mean if I'm not opening the door however much they knock. So I will just try to continue to talk to this thing and just ask it if they encroached, then why only act now? Did they awaken you?
Yes, promise.
A promise was made to you. Have they not kept it?
And then you hear like a little. It's not a titter. It's not a laugh, but it's like kind of like like a pleased grunt. And they go, no.
Hmm. They do tend to be that way, don't they? So many words and so few of them meant.
Now the banging is more insistent, as if somebody's trying to get in. I think dimly you realize that the door somehow got locked. Whether you did it or Nora did it, who knows? But the door's locked. and somebody's trying to get in. And somebody's trying to say, it's like, Xiao, Miss Xiao, are you all right?
Yes, quite.
Let us in.
Why? I'm quite all right. You're being very loud and I'm trying to talk.
Like, you can't hear the surprise, but there's like somebody on the other side, talk. To who?
To someone more important to this case than you are, so can you please just shush? Eesh. And I will try to, again, like focus on this thing and try to get it to tell me something or try to spar something in my head. So I'm trying to block out whoever the hell is knocking on this stupid door.
And I think, yeah. Kathleen, describe Act 2, in which Daniel impotently fights back against the forces that prevent him from being with Dahlia.
Dahlia's father learns of this young baker's impudence in daring to pay attention to one above his station. And, of course, being a man of wealth and position, would not confront such a nonentity directly, and instead sends his very burly footmen, who beat Daniel. He fights back as valiantly as he can, but being outnumbered and young and not as large as they are, uh, he really clearly doesn't stand a chance. And they beat him quite savagely and end the lesson by kicking him down the steps of Dahlia's house, leaving him in a pathetic and bloody huddle at the foot of the steps.
Ellie, as Mordecai is doing this thing with trying to figure out the trees of the forest, and to you, I mean, it's probably. I mean, well, actually, what do you think of like Mordecai's method of trying to figure out what's going on?
I kind of feel like he ought to be, I don't know, looking for tracks, something, because I feel like this thing feels targeted. It doesn't feel like a spirit lashing out at random, which says to me that there's a human being involved. And otherwise, it wouldn't have hit one specific room of one person who was alone. It probably would have hit somebody who was in the garden or otherwise outside if it was random. Um, so I'm thinking, okay, you're going at this all wrong. Maybe it's because you're not used to walking around in the wilderness. This is until we walked into the trees, I was thinking this was a pretty tetchy patch of trees, not really what I'd call a forest.
No, but there is
Yeah.
something here. I don't know if you can feel it. There is something attacked me or try to, and I wish to have words with it and make it understand that that's not no way to go about it. That's all. But if you have a better course of action, I would love to hear that.
Well, I'm thinking, I mean, if you want to deal with things on that level, that's well and good. That's you. I'm thinking that I need to find out who else has been in here because somebody poked the bear, so to speak. Somebody woke it up, pointed it in a direction, something. And if I can work out who that was, well, there's I don't know if I'd say, yeah, I'd say maybe that's our murderer and the spirit's a weapon.
Maybe so, or maybe this was unintentional.
I don't know.
People.
Either way, I want to know who else has been in here of a
Fine.
human persuasion.
Huh. Well, let me have a look then. If
Or I
you,
can look while you're
or you can look while
doing your
I
thing.
talk. Well, I do look at the tree. You look at for human intervention, and I look at the trees. That seems like a reasonable idea. Yes, holler if you are, yeah, call out if anything would require more than your attention, which I doubt, but
Will do.
yeah. If you find any Latin writing, for example, I might be of use.
Okay.
I apologize. I just assumed you did not speak Latin, which was forward of me.
As it happens, I can muddle through, but you're probably more in practice than I am.
That is likely. Yes. Okay, so let's go down.
So I think once you let go of Mordecai's arm, I think, maybe you find yourself in a patch of trees. Now, you can either info move this, or I'm going to say that maybe the forest starts to try to work its deal on you as well. Or something will start to work its deal on you. So, night move with...
Yep.
Night move with, in this case, vitality, because I think something is going to try and... Yeah, like there's a trap. There's a trap of some sort out here for you.
Okay.
So you have to try to make your way around it. Either vitality or composure, I think,
Okay.
to avoid it.
And I have the condition drained.
Oof.
I also have hackles up. So.
Yeah. I mean, drained would cause you maybe to kind of slip up and not be as alert for it. Although hackles up is just like, I'm on alert. But yeah, I think drained is kind of like, just dulls your ability to sense what you need to. And I think maybe, yeah, tell me how.
So I'm rolling with disadvantage, just to clarify.
Yeah.
Okay.
So night move with, how do you think you'll fit? How do you think it'll go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve?
I think I will get trapped and separated from Mordecai.
Mm-hmm.
The trees will keep us apart and try to keep me from leaving.
I think you'll find yourself in a not only trapped and separated, but I think you'll find yourself probably find yourself like taken up by the trees.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll find yourself in a precarious position for sure.
Okay. So that's a 6.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I
Do I
think,
let it stand? Do I take a mash?
well, let me just tell you like how it goes wrong. So
Yeah.
So I think, like almost as soon as you separate from Mordecai and then turn to face what you face, I think you feel something like encircle your ankle and immediately drag you away and up into the trees. Trees didn't look that big, but they certainly do now when you're upside down and hanging from limbs that, where'd this come from, right? And somehow you seem much higher up than you should be. And I think as you get really high up and you see Mordecai looking very small, you feel your ankle let go.
Oh.
I think I am gonna take a mask.
Mm.
Cause that I've already got a couple of conditions and this is just not going well.
What mask are you taking?
I am going to take my first Mask of the Past.
Okay. Do you want to do that now or do you want to wait until the end of the session?
End of the session.
Okay. All right. And when you do it, then you're just going to read off the prompt and then narrate. Okay? So just mark that off. Okay. So, yeah. So on a 729 night move, tell me how you, even though you feel the encirclement on your ankle and it starts to drag you away, tell me how you either extricate out of it or you put it to your, advantage.
I feel it start to grab me. And I reach down and take hold of the branch that was dragging at me. And I am now somewhat controlling it, so it is pulling me in the direction that it was going to pull me, but it doesn't have the leverage to get me off the ground the way it wanted to, so it is taking me to a significant location. The tree that is pulling on me is one that is somehow important.
Yeah.
And as I am attempting to wrench myself free, sorry. I just read the chat.
Yes.
Erican versus a branch, top 10 iconic between fights.
Before I cut away, I just want to say that, as you're doing this, it's like you're almost like wrangling the branch, right? And then I think Mordecai, like, for your 11, it's like you're seeing this and you could follow.
Well, I mean, yes, I will follow. I will follow. Let's see where that goes.
Oh my God.
Well,
amazing.
I thought she wanted to look for a person. Now she's following a branch, but sure, fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
or maybe she can handle that on her own, right? I wanted to look for something here, and I think I'll stay here and separate us and myself, so that the trees will have it easier. I mean, that's not the reason, but yeah, I'm sure she's going to be fine. She can handle a branch.
Okay.
She doesn't need me. She doesn't need my help to handle a branch.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just gonna ask you then for your 11. You can give a detail about what you find.
That's my 11. Yeah, yes. That was on my night move, right?
Yes.
I think I would like to find a tree that does not belong here, actually. Or yeah, smaller tree, a very gnarled tree, maybe an olive tree or something like that. That does not clearly does not belong here. Or maybe something more. Oh, I have it. No, this is a tree that Mordecai does not recognize, but on the tree you can see this very large orange blossom. That is not an English blossom. It looks a little like a dahlia, though. And I think Mordecai will take that blossom.
Okay.
Because it might be important. And also, it's pretty.
Could be pretty. Okay, got it. All right. And Jazzy, describe Act 3, in which Daniel engages in a desperate action to get what he wants. The final moment, just before the curtain falls, should be very bloody.
We see Daniel, sort of holding his ribs, limping forward, still bloodied and bruised. He's walking on the stage until he collapses in the middle of it over it's a tree decor again. It's a single flower, the single dahlia in the middle of the room of the stage as he collapses over it and he sort of lays down. The lights are very dimmed. The music is very tragic. There's a hush in the audience. And then from behind the curtains, a voice sort of echoing through the whole theater goes, "Do you want me, Daniel? Do you want me enough to sacrifice for it?" And we recognize it as the voice of Dahlia, although this tone, this sultry, seductive, otherworldly element to it we haven't heard before. And we do not see her, but the lighting is, doing very dramatic, flickering kind of thing. And Daniel uh, rights himself a little bit and proclaims, "Anything for you, my love, anything." And she says, "Then take the flower, Daniel. Show me what you will do." And we see now, like, it's sort of, like in the middle, he's there, and then like to the side, there's like a different scene where we see the people who beat him up and the father. And as Daniel like reaches out for the seed, for the flower, the light starts to flicker again. That crimson hue of the lantern is now going, they're like replacing the lanterns with all of that crimson hue to give it like this really creepy, oppressive feel. And the closer his hand goes to the flower on the side, the other people start to convulse and like reach for their eyes, and through their fingers starts to drip blood, and someone else is like screaming as he reaches for his ears, and again he's like sort of popping those blood bags right as they start spouting through his ears. And we see Daniel, his hand shaking as if he can see this. He's like looking at that scene as if he's getting a vision of what it means to give into. But then we see the actress playing Dahlia step forward in like this beautiful like dryad get up. Like she's all flowers now. She's very fey, like she has a dress that's like done up in flowers. And he reaches for the flowers at just the time that the actress is like perpendicular to him. She turns to the audience, and we see that her dress is actually full of blood too. And she very gently says, "Very good, Daniel." And she reaches for his head and snaps his neck as he drops dead. All the others like slumped over a table, just wide tablecloth drenched in blood. And she stands there smiling to the audience as they gasp.
Bravo. Oh, bravo. Amazing. And we cut back to Jai in the room. They've stopped hammering on the door, but the presence seems to have receded again, and won't come out and play.
How boring. If he won't come out and play, then I will go see who the hell was knocking on my door.
When you unlock the door and you throw open the door, it is a young man who has long hair, his longish hair tied back with a ribbon, beard, mustache, and he's got a loose shirt underneath his waistcoat, and his nimble fingers are just kind of like in mid knock, as if he's about ready to try again. And he's like, you sure you're all right, Ms. Zhao?"
I lean in very close, like just inches from his face. "Would you like to check?"
You recognize this as Fitz, one of the
Mhm.
escorts. I was going to play my music for the others in the did you want me to help you?
No, thank you. I already got the help I needed. And she'll sort of like throws her hands up and does like a little spin as if for him to like physically see, like, listen, I'm not stabbed, I'm fine. She says, it is curious though. Why knock on this door if you were only going to play some music?
'Cause
So concerned you are for my well-being.
yes, yes. Nora had said that you were in the room, and I was worried.
Ah, she sent a gallant hero to save me. How sweet.
He nods. If you're sure you're all right, I will continue to go down and play for the others.
Well, certainly you would be so kind as to invite me, wouldn't you?
Of course, of course. Would you like to come with me? And then he offers his arm.
And I'll playfully take it and says, I would love nothing more.
It is wonderful to have your shining face among the audience. And he will, like, like he'll have your arm entwined as his, and he'll put his one hand, if you'll let him, like he'll put his hand on yours.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, she will. And I think as we're walking down, I think I will ask, does it comfort you? Music in a time like this, I mean.
I find music is a comfort for most people. I compose my music to help those that ask for my services.
Ah, I see. Do many ask?
And he has a small smile of pride as he says, "Yes, yes, yes, they do." And
Did he ever ask? And I won't say his name, but I very clearly mean the man that died.
you feel his hand like kind of grip yours a little bit tighter as he says, "Yes, there was a tune of mine that seemed to comfort him. I composed it myself after listening to the rain, and it seemed to help."
Help? Did he need help?
Sometimes sleeping.
I see. Nightmares or the fear of something lurking in the dark?
A sheepish smile, and he says, "He wouldn't say."
Hmm. And you wouldn't ask, of course.
No.
I suppose that's what makes you so terribly good at your job.
I always seek a true patron of the art. My art, if I could find one.
Oh, I am certain you already have found many, although they might be too cowardly to tell you.
And by now, you've made it down to the ballroom or whatever the performance room that they have here. One of the entertainment rooms, basically. And yeah,
Can I try for an information move with like that little interrogation, or as he starts playing music to see if that does something?
Yeah, you can totally do
Or
that.
do you want to enter the night phase for me?
I think if you want to do something, you will still have the opportunity to talk to Fitz, afterwards, like after night phase is over. But yeah, I mean, like, we'll close out a night phase so this way we can go into the dawn, for sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. But let's make sure we close with the adventure outside in the forest. After after Mordecai finds the dahlia flower and takes it, and I'm assuming walks back to the inn, leaving Ellie to her own devices. Ellie, how do you think you extricate yourself from the tangle?
I think after having gotten hauled some distance uh, away from Mordecai, I'm going to finally get enough purchase to be able to uh, wrench my foot free.
Mhm.
Uh, and the the tree isn't going to make another attempt right now. Um, but presumably there's some sort of cost to this since I got a
Oh,
mixed
yes.
success.
Oh, yes. Yes, there is. But, yeah. You've extricated yourself. And I think maybe this far out, which isn't that far out when you really think about how this is, I think you hear a step behind you. And there is someone that is in it's in a frock coat. Seems to be carrying like something that looks like a medical bag. And he is, you lift your eyes as you see him approach. And he is uncommonly handsome, with an earnest square jaw and spectacles on. And he will approach you, and as you're like laying there in the dirt, and he will hold out a hand and say, "Do you need assistance? I am Dr. Holzer."
Thank you kindly. I will accept the hand up, but very warily. Because anybody I meet in these woods is automatically suspect in my mind.
And we will end there. Okay. Closing out of night phase, going into the dawn. Dawn phase. Okay. All right. No threat was resolved. We have dawn questions to answer. So dawn questions are questions that are on each playbook to allow the hunters to get XP towards advancements. Yay. All right, so we're going to start with the American. Did the hunters answer a question? No. Did the hunters resolve a threat? No. Did you experience an echo in the night? Again, calling back to the unseen versus the hunter scenes. Did you call back to the unseen in any way to your hunter scenes?
As I was lying in a huddle on the ground just now,
Mm-hmm.
that was not unlike the sad little huddle of Daniel at the foot of his beloved's steps.
I'll take it. Yeah, go ahead and mark it.
Okay.
Okay. Did you encourage a fellow hunter to let loose for a change?
No.
Okay. All right. Did you stick out in London society for all the wrong reasons?
Um, no, not really. I mean, my appearance and demeanor are certainly unladylike. Um, but I haven't really been any place that is gonna matter that much unless the doctor is in some way relevant to this question, but I doubt it.
Okay. Not for right now. So
Yeah.
basically, like, dawn questions are at the close of every cycle. So from day to all the way through night phase. Okay. So go ahead and take that XP point. and then clear your dawn questions. And for the elective dawn questions, if you want to change them for, for the next cycle, then you can go ahead and do so. All right. Our vessel. Oh, excuse me. Undeniable. So I'll have to get a chance to figure that out for next time. Okay. So our vessel. All right. Did not answer a question. Did not resolve a threat. Did you
Oh,
experience an echo in the night?
I did, yes, with the Dahlia thing on
Yes,
the
you did.
bush.
Yep. Push that as much as you can to make sure that you get the point.
Sure,
Yep.
that's what it's there for.
And then you did perform the ritual. Yep.
Yes, I did.
Yep. And then so go ahead and take those points. And
Yeah.
then again, clear your dawn questions and go ahead and change your elective dawn questions if you so choose. And
Okay.
your fox. Okay. Did you experience an echo in the night?
Yes. I put the flower in my hair, and Dahlia at the end was a dryad with flowers in her hair.
Yep.
And also the face was in the middle of the room, and the flower was in the middle of the stage.
Nice. Okay. All right. Take that. Did you use your otherworldly charm or grace to impress someone?
Yes, that was last session, with the whole impressing the. I don't remember what we said. I think it was either impressing the giggle thing, or it was impressing Nora with like how I approached and how I handled that. And I think probably the little game of catch also counts.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Being very graceful.
Did you
Did
hide?
you hide your true feelings for someone beneath lies and misdirection? Yes, I was like, let's play a game, but my real intent was to set her up as bait.
God, that's awful. But yes, go ahead, take it. Oh my God. Yes. So take those points towards your XP, and then clear your dawn questions. And
It
then go
doesn't
ahead.
say my true feelings
I
have to
know.
be
No,
sweet or nice.
you're correct. You are correct. But I was just like, oh damn, wow, that's amazing. So yeah, go ahead and clear your dawn questions, and go ahead and change your elective dawn questions if you so choose. Okay. All right. All right. Anything that needs to be resolved during dawn phase? I don't believe so. And of course, our poor American has like drained, and everybody's got some conditions. Oh boy. So next day phase will be great. So people will have the opportunity to do some vulnerable scenes, and we will follow the new rules for that since I have them. Okay. Any Janus mask prompts that need to be resolved? So Kathleen, do you
Yes.
have Ellie's prompt for Mask of the Past?
We see.
Can you
Oh, yes, read the prompt.
please?
Yes. Narrate a flashback to your childhood that shows the high level of privilege you were born into. We see a schoolroom, not a classroom in a school, but a schoolroom in a private mansion, where we see very young Ellie and her older brother, both being taught by a governess. And in fact, today's lesson is Latin. Mostly aimed at the older brother, but it's very clear that Ellie, who has a worksheet of her own, is working on something else, is listening and paying attention. And the governess is strict but very formal, addressing Master Fletcher and Miss Fletcher with great respect. And from the beautiful, if simple, decor of the room and how well the children are dressed, as well as the attitude of the governess, it is very clear that there is both wealth and quite possibly generational wealth at play here. But Ellie is clearly neglecting her own work to pay attention to something that's being aimed at somebody else.
I was supposed to read this at the end of the first night phase, but I'll save it for a stinger. Stars and wishes. We know how this goes. Anything you appreciate about the gameplay, roleplay, each other for stars, and then wishes are things you'd like to see for next time or the future.
Yeah, I can start. For Sabine, I really like how like physical and visceral Mordecai's like dark entity magic is. I've usually seen like very like esoteric magical approaches. And I really like just how like not grounded necessarily, but like how physical and visceral you're describing it, which I think is a really fun take on it. So those descriptions stood out for me, and also, I mean, obviously, Star for oh yeah, my colleague is being dragged by a tree, but you know what? She can handle that. That's just a normal Tuesday. I'm here to do my job, which is like such a perfect mix of like trusting in your colleagues while also being super dismissive of them, which I feel like is just Mordecai's whole vibe, given like how you've been describing him so far. And I think is just a very fun vibe for like a Heartgrave House Hunter to have. So that's really fun. Kathleen, yeah, I loved how you leaned into the conditions. Like Ellie before that hackles up condition, and Ellie after that was very different how you were role playing her. And I thought that was a very cool way to like honor those conditions and do like something narratively with them. Um, Also, yeah, I mean, very funny for the American to just be like, I'm here to find a person because this is a human being who did this. There's a grounded explanation for this, and then immediately gets yeeted into the air by a tree. Extremely funny. Um, yeah, I don't know, something about the image of like Ellie just like trying to fight a branch is just extremely funny to me, and I love it. So that was definitely a standout. And I also really loved the moment at the beginning, like a very quiet, very human, very gentle approach to an interrogation. Um, which like I don't think I've ever seen a Hargrave Hunter be like so nice as Ellie in the games that I've played, and now I'm like, I want to protect her, and I'm so afraid now of all the things that are gonna happen to her. Because you don't get to be nice in this game. The game doesn't want, and I mean, like, that's not true, but you know, like, there's like an extra element of like, oh no, you're nice. I'm scared now. um, so I really like that. That was a very, very beautiful moment. Mads, I appreciate like the effort that you're putting into like the voices and the atmosphere and everything. I like the moment at the end with Chiai with Fitz, just like having a very like normal like there was a lot of subtext to the conversation, but it was still like kind of nice and like a nice ending to the scene. So that was very fun. Um, wishes. I wish for maybe a little bit punchier on the pacing. I felt like there was maybe a little bit like preamble that we didn't need. So maybe a little more like let's just cut to like where we want to start. Like let's just, you know, assume that I can either convince Nora or make that like a scene in itself. Like things like that. Just like a little bit punchier, I think we can be with pacing. And other than that, yeah, I think it's time for Chai to maybe interact with the other hunters a little bit. We do have some conditions across the board, so I'm assuming we're gonna get into vulnerable scenes next. So yeah, and first day phase, so I'm very excited to see what our next threat is going to be and how that's going to change like the feel of the game with like a very confined setting to a broader like list of options for us to take.
Yeah, let me follow up on this. Stars to Ellie for the fight with the branch, which I loved, and also for calling agreeing to go with Mordecai and then calling him out on his no, we can maybe do a sensible thing, which he thought he was doing, honestly, but yeah, well. I still like how grounded Ellie is still, right? Even though she's drained and has her hackles up, she's still like, yeah, she's still like the most normal person. Like, yeah, like the one who I turn to if I was an NPC, if I wanted something sensible. But I also love how Jai was interacting with Nora, using her as bait, but still like, oh no, I will risk her, but then I will defend her. So she has limits to her. Like, yeah, people are like, nah. But I also like the way she interacted with this entity. Like, yeah, humans, pesky things, right? And I will die for that giggle you do with her. That is just amazing. I just love that. Matt's, yeah, I like the interaction. I especially like the forest voice. That was great. I almost was like, oh yeah, let's give over to the forest. This is gonna be fun. But I thought, no, maybe not in the second session, right? I want to interact with Felix before I do something like that. Brings me to wishes. I would like for Mordecai to talk to a person, because he hasn't so far. Um, that might be because of the way I play the character, but also I would actually like to, well, interact with NPCs, but I will also want to interact with PCs. I would love to have a scene with Jai or Felix. That would be very interesting to get these very different people in a room and talk to each other. So yeah, yeah, I'm also curious about the next thread.
Yeah, this was another great session. Uh, stars to stars to Jai's uh whole playful, cute, but definitely predatory and creepy energy. Uh, the let's play chase. That's always fun. And at the same time using Nora as bait was great. It's like you clearly like her. You find her company enjoyable. You wouldn't seek her out otherwise. But at the same time, absolutely willing to stick her out there and see what else might be chasing. Uh and I feel that that is very that's very much a microcosm of the character as we're starting to know her is that that complex attitude toward human beings in general. Um and Mordecai, I especially loved the examination of the corpse. Your descriptions of how you were going about it and what it looked like and all that was marvelously creepy and at the same time just yeah, for Mordecai this is Tuesday. This is what he does and how he does it, and it's not something to get excited or agitated about even when the power is trying to when another power is fighting back. It's just, oh no, no, I'm gonna make sure I get all those bits out of my fingers and not leaving any of my blood. Nope, I know how to deal with this situation. I've got this under control. And that also to me was very much an encapsulation of the character. And Mads, ooh, the creepy voice of the forest is great. Oh, I love that. Uh and your NPCs in general are always uh delightful to interact with. Um and as for wishes, yeah, certainly we got some harder hitting stuff this session, and I enjoyed that very much. I want that to continue. And yeah, I am looking forward to interactions with my fellow hunters, uh, getting some vulnerable moves out there and such. That's gonna be really interesting. Seeing how we talk to each other outside an immediate investigative context.
It's going to be interesting. And no, thanks for the call out for the pacing. It's like that's always been one of my biggest issues is just trying to make sure that the pace is picked up and it's not just for trying to push the moves out, but also for trying to make sure that things get done, but yet also like, uh, again, actions don't drag. So like I'm trying to improve every single time that I go out and do this. So, and also like running something that is also mine is a little bit of pressure as well. So I am so sorry. um, just ask for a little bit of patience, and I think once I pick up into an actual published mystery as well, then it's like it's yeah, then it'll fall into familiar territory. So I mean, we'll see how this interacts with what you're doing now. And again, there's still that time limit, so there's always that. Yeah, no, I mean like I loved everybody's interactions with the NPCs slash um, their character moments too. Um, saw a lot of Jai being cute, but also sinister. God damn. So obviously more of that, and just kind of like the reversals of like you're being like very it seems like it's a nice thing to do. You're trying to take her mind off of like the horrible thing that had happened, and yet you're still using her as bait for the horrible thing that may be causing the horrible thing that happened. So amazing characterization. And then Mordecai, I mean, like so dry, but yet um, still getting things done in their esoteric way. And yes, I love the whole characterization of like, okay, this is the way my magic is working, and this is what I plan on doing. But I was going to make that creepy as fuck to you know to make it um, yeah, again, saying that there's something else here. It's not just human agency that's driving this thing. So yeah, I mean that was a great interaction, and yeah, I want to see more of Mordecai and then see what he's able to do, and also interact with other people. So that'll be fun. And then Ellie, of course, it's like yeah, I mean like that motherly big sister vibe. I mean like you were showing it to Cobb, but let's get you into the whole like rootum tootum action American while you're also being drained. It's fun. It's great. Get you into trouble. It's awesome. Um, yeah. So a lot of fun this session. Like a little bit of hiccups again because it's like I'm trying to, get out some information, but also trying to make sure that you guys are interacting with each bit of the game that I can. And yeah, can't wait to figure out what the next mystery is too. I have an idea, but I might change my mind before next session. So we'll see. Um, and wishes. Yeah, just seeing what you guys end up doing with this because again, playtesting everything and anything. So you know, um, I want to see more of these characters. I want to see Felix back. I want to see like Felix in action. He's going to get into trouble, but also too for the fact that he was away in this particular session will give me an in for saying, did he go home or was he still hanging around Little Blackbirds? Either way, I think that your next threat will possibly come to him and, you know, be established that way. So we'll find out. We'll find out for next session. I can't wait to find out. But given that, perhaps something else was happening. Something else was happening before dawn approached. During the night, while you were all engaged with what you were doing, little blackbirds. I want to tell you about one more person, possibly doing some dark work. She is sitting in a beautiful burgundy velvet chaise lounge, a book in hand reading. This woman, elderly, somewhat frail, looks small and elegant in her simple nightgown and plush robes too large on her, even more so as a young man, bespectacled of uncommon beauty, steps over the threshold into the room, standing tall above her. He leans in as if to kiss her on the forehead, and instead opens his mouth to release a steady stream of purple gas. The experiment continues, Frau. Shall we go on? He breathes. And she, frail of the white-haired tresses, opens her mouth to accept this strange gift. Yes, Dr. Holzer. Indeed. Let it be so, in service. And she smiles a wide smile as her eyes glow for a few moments with that purple light. Hargrave House does not yet know this woman's schemes against the Empire, but we do. And with that, I leave you to next session. Happy gaming for what you are doing for the rest of the week, and I will see you next time. Thank you all. Bye.
Thanks for
Around.
running.